I have to turn on my microphone. Haha. Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. We're all over the place. All over the place. There we go. Okay. Now we're good to go. Welcome back. The Fallen Gods, after multiple hiatuses due to catastrophic world events. Um, yeah, we are back. We've got Patrick as Helm. He is having some technology issues, as as is par for the times, and will be without camera for the events. Cat, what are you doing? Cats are freaking out. It's pandemonium everywhere we go. Leia playing Sianine, and Madi as the Red Knight, and we will get going. Last we left off, you all found your first godly artifact up in a temple in the mountains north of the city. There was a Medusa, apparently making it her nest with a portal to a shadowy realm. The Shield of Helm apparently being used to seal off that portal into the world. By recovering it and coming back to the material plane, apparently leaving that portal wide open with shadow creatures pouring in. You all were able to exit, bar the door, even gave the previously pretty well tied up and captured Medusa a fighting chance to get out of there. After recovering some of her saliva for your mission, and then a hasty run down the mountainside, you are all now heavily exhausted, kind of limping past farms, heading back towards the city. And that is where we come back in with 5 of our fallen gods trying to do their best to hobble along. And so what are you all wanting to do?
I want to know what is in the bags that I stole from Medusa.
The bags you took from the Medusa. Ooh, note flips. The Medusa, going through, you basically just see a bunch of coin, entirely in gold pieces. It seems like gold pieces that have been I think you had a 1 or 2 different bags. They seem to be sorted in like printed from different kingdoms, but they are all gold pieces. Taken some time to count it out as you all are kind of limping back towards the city. There is 691 gold pieces all together with the different pouches.
I think I feel pretty good about that. I feel pretty good about 691 gold pieces.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that's all I got.
Let me get a constitution check from everybody, which is with disadvantage due to the exhaustion.
Just a check.
Yeah, just a check. Constitution check. Nice. You all have made it what you assume is about halfway back to town, and almost in perfect unison, the Moonweaver kind of leans on a post and just like, just full on throws up right at the base of that of this post to a fence, followed almost immediately by Helm. Like, I, how would Helm react to, like, one of the companions has paused and started throwing up on this fence post?
Retaliatory vomit.
Yeah, just immediately. Like, right. Turns to see what's happening, and then again. The Red Knight, feels it also. It's like you guys have had a heck of a trudge, and but at the same time has managed to keep her composure. Um, you all do you make it based on time frames? You guys make it back to town right about like the early morning, like the where the horizon is just starting to peek some light out. So you are all actually at two levels of exhaustion when the time you find your way back to your like your living situation area. Red Knight has to like kind of help people from time to time, get an arm up under and dragging them along to try to get them moving. Uh, but you
I'm
do,
gonna try to open the door and
yeah.
just throw people on their beds.
People are not even having the energy to like pull themselves onto beds, but so you manage to kind of drag people to their spots. Um, People barely manage to get out of their armors and lay down. Uh, People just immediately laying down and like just shutting the door and latching it and just like immediately passing out. Um, let's have a well, no, you guys are just out. So you're out till about noon this following day, resting. You all would recover 1 point of exhaustion, so that you're only sitting on one at this point. Um, you're awakened about noon with a loud knock at the door. Everyone's still pretty out of it. Um, the uh, the door um, at the door, you can hear your liaison, who sort of helped you get set up in this area. Um, Coraline, they get up and open the door and greet the woman. She has come with lunch and has a chat with everyone. Apparently, there has been a discovery in the city of Termina, which is in Ordinia, the next country over. Um, she discusses with all of you that the Ordinia was a kingdom kind of ruled by a holy order, primarily humans relying on divine powers, and that they have in Terminia, they have uh, a vault where they have collected holy relics, and it seems from their research, it sounds like it's the most likely spot to find like a bunch of artifacts that would be tied to the various gods. Bakab and Corlin agree to travel with your liaison to go establish connections and like a housing for having like a landing spot versus having to make do with the dirt hut like you guys have done for the last week here. Um, and they gather up their things to be able to head out and take care of that and let you all kind of wrap up um, uh, anything you have going on here in this city. So exhausted, but with lunch in your belly, what are you all planning to do?
I kind of want to start out by heading to the tavern to talk to the paladin.
Coop? Anybody accompanying?
I feel like I'll just follow him.
Gotcha. Red Knight as well, following suit.
I'm gonna take another nap. I'm
uh,
assuming the cats are with me.
right.
At least one of them is. The flying one.
The flying one is going with its owner, Corlin, on the trip heading westward towards Terminia. But Bakab is going to leave his familiar to follow around. He explains that he can use this as means to check up on people and see how things are going. You all set up a code where if the cat scratches at the dirt, that's Bakab looking in on the situation, and then you can communicate things through the cat.
So what's the cat doing now?
Cat is certainly just sitting on a post, staring at apparently nothing, but with the head slowly tilting.
Also, like what normal cats do.
Yeah, pretty normal cat stuff.
I was gonna take a nap, but seeing how I just got some carpentry tools, and I just want to like start fixing stuff up.
Oh, gotcha.
Like maybe reinforce the door, maybe build us some shelves.
Right. Start making some improvements to the spot. Sure. Give me a carpenter tools check.
What is it? Just straight with proficiency, or is it with like?
It is I believe it is a programmable, basically like a skill that you can put in where you can just click it, but you can also just make a check.
No, I know.
This would if you're proficient, you get the add your proficiency bonus, and it would be this would be let's see, making the improvements. I do this a lot. I should know what skill this is. I'm going to make this an intelligence check as you're at your first stages, setting everything up.
Before I forget, I wanted to leave the great axe with the Red Knight because I can't use it and he can, and they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she can. She is definitely has been set up as a two-handed. You do have disadvantage on that carpenter's tools check due to the still level of exhaustion.
Again.
Yep, just click it again. You're doing your best, and you're like gathering materials, but every time you seem to like set up a shelf, you get it properly set up, and as soon as you kind of tap the nails and double check for level, it's just way off, and you keep like having to rub your eyes and try to do it. You spend a couple of hours, eventually with making a few shelves that are not level, with like a side piece put in so that things can roll to the bottom but then run up against it, and so it kind of works still. And Helm has left you with this axe that was recovered from one of the statue people from the Medusa's lair.
Is it the plus one
axe.
axe, or is it just a normal one?
It is it's a +1 great axe. All right.
I'm gonna hold it and see if there's anything inside of it that wants to talk to me.
You're gonna attempt to attune to the magical great axe. You do your best to make a connection with this magic weapon. You kind of trace along the runes. You hold it carefully. You look through the archway that is created by the two blades on it. You give it a couple of practice swings. After an hour, you feel nothing in particular. It is simply an enhanced great axe that does +1 attack and damage, but it's still a very, very nice, pretty uncommon piece of equipment.
I'm gonna, knowing that's not sentient, I'm gonna carve a little chest piece on the hilt to claim it as mine.
Nice. The hilt does have wood. It says woodwork involved. I'm gonna say give me a carpenter's tools check again. Again with disadvantage, and making that see how good of a mark that is.
It's a shape.
It's a shape. It is poly. It has multiple sides, and it is a shape. You finish carving it, and you're like, oh, that's not exactly what I was going for. It looks more like a snake than a horse. And you're just sort of like, and then as you watch it, you see the carvings just like fade away into just the straight shaft of the great axe. And it seems like the marks did not take. Yeah. Helm and Moonweaver make it to the bar. Both of you make a perception check, again with disadvantage from exhaustion. Helm is like marching on a mission and just goes into the bar. Moonweaver, as you all are heading into the tavern, you hear the clack, quick, clack of like sticks hitting each other, and you kind of look over your shoulder, and in like a small park area that's in front of the tavern, just like one city block basically that's grassy. You can see the paladin that you all talked to for your mission doing like a practice sword fight with someone in the like little grassy area, and it seems like they're not an aggressive duel. It seems like it's more like a training thing.
Yo, Helm, they're not in the bar.
What?
He's over there.
Oh. Okay.
And Helm finally comes around after thoroughly searching the interior of the tavern, and several yells from the Moonweaver. Kind of finally turns around, looks outside, and you see him. It looks like he's doing what you would recognize as like swordplay practice, where blocking, deflecting, and predicting movements, and is sort of dueling with this unarmored male elf, and who also has a wooden sword, and they just seem to be practicing dueling. As you all approach, Sehanin, you actually pick up some of the instructions as they're saying things like, you must listen to the wind, focus on their shift in stance, predict how you would attack from that angle, and reverse it. And he's just like giving instructions on like how to sword fight. And there's the paladin who, again, his eyes have been turned to stone, can't seemingly see anything, but is apparently training on how to be able to still fight without the ability to see anything that's happening. So you two approach. The elf doesn't make eye contact with either of you, but like gives the wooden sword like a spin until it's like behind its back, and it's just like, "Hello, you two. How can I be of assistance?"
I think we're here for your friend, actually. We just got back, and I think we have something that he might need.
Yes, very well. He kind of reaches out, and you can tell like when he reaches out, he's still like an inch off of where the paladin is, but then with a small amount of searching finds him and gives him a pat on the shoulder, and it's like, it's a good time to break for lunch anyways. We'll see you back here in half an hour. So it's like, yes, thank you, sir. And the elf walks away using their wooden sword as like I forget the term, but using it as a I thought it had an extra term, the cane that people who are blind use to find their way. I forget the term.
Wait, was he the guy who needed to have the Medusa spit? I thought it was the other way around.
The paladin needed the Medusa spit to try to cure the stone eyes, but it appears like he didn't have a huge amount of. He's training to be able to still function as a melee fighter without his eyesight, and this other blind swordmaster is just walking away, pretty confidently walking, even though there are rocks and debris that are in the way. He seems to just remember where things are. The occasional like click of the stick running into something, and he just moves around it at normal speed, and then makes his way back over to the tavern. Paladin turns to the two of you and is just like, "I recognize your voices. You made it back. Did you have a chance to find the materials I needed?"
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. How many vials did you manage to find?
I think about 4, if I remember correctly.
That's excellent. I believe our agreement was 500 gold for 2 vials. I wouldn't mind a third, just in case. Would 750 gold be appropriate for the trouble you've made?
I think you failed to mention exactly how dangerous this endeavor was going to be. I think that you failed to mention the arrival of griffins. We
Griffins.
were only informed of a Medusa. That's without even going into the fact that there was cloaker beasts on the table. I'm gonna have to disagree with 750.
I don't know what some of those things are, or why you would have encountered them. I assumed danger was implied in assaulting a Medusa in her lair in the mountain. My apologies, I was not omnipotently aware of all things that could go wrong, but that is sort of the plan. Go ahead and make a persuasion check with disadvantage from your exhaustion. Six. It's like...
I'm not charismatic. I just make points.
It's too bad that you didn't get to have that natural 20 on there. He's like, look, I am already offering to pay extra for the third vial of Gorgon saliva. That is the offer I have for you. Otherwise, the 2 vials at 500 is our already arranged agreement.
I do believe that is more than sufficient, my friend.
Very good.
And Moonweaver kind of like sulks to the side, like I'm so done with this.
It takes a pouch. The pouch seems lighter. Doesn't seem like there's as much coin as you would expect. By like a wide margin, it seems like it's 10-20% of the heft you would expect for that coin. And you see him like pull up a second pouch and count out 25 pieces of coin into it, and then hands over the pouch. There you are. And then he takes the 3 vials of Gorgon saliva from you. Looking in the pouch, there are 75 platinum pieces, which explains the lack of extreme heft to the pouch. But you all have 75 platinum. Sihanian, I believe you are still holding 690 ish gold pieces. 691. Yeah, you have 691 gold pieces on you, and then also these 75 platinum, which work out to 750 gold pieces.
I hope to God I don't get robbed in the next 10 minutes.
You see him immediately kind of just take a deep breath. He kind of pockets two of the vials and just breathes deeply, and it just uncorks one and just drains it straight into his eye. He sits there and just kind of like, and then eventually just like blinks and blinks and blinks things out. And you see the eye just stay stone, and he's just like, damn it. Well, let's see if there's something that can be done.
Is there anything else required to that little concoction you just did, or
well, apparently you need some sort of enchanting. It doesn't just work by just putting it on the exposed or on the affected tissues. I will have to speak to an alchemist or someone, see if there's something that can be done. Which is why I wanted that third vial instead of just the 2. Huh?
I said, just get the Medusa to come lick his eyeballs.
Just go catch her and have her lick it.
She's done it before. We can make her do it again.
I'm not here to kink shame anybody. All right. So he kind of gives you a nod of it's like, good day to both of you. I'll see what I can do. At least I have a hope of getting this resolved. And makes his own way back towards the tavern, apparently to get himself some lunch. So, what are the 2 of you doing?
I kind of want to make my way back to the house for a quick nap.
Okay.
So that I'm not tired.
I agree. Plus, I think we need to sort out this money and then maybe go shopping.
All right. So both of you give me a perception check, again with disadvantage because of all the exhaustion-y stuff.
I am so mad about that last roll.
The persuasion. 12's not bad.
Why do I keep getting out 20s on these disadvantage rolls?
Oh no. So many wasted 20s.
My roll 20 crashed.
Gotcha. Just give a physical roll then and get +1.
$12 and 15.
Gotcha. You all are making your way back to your hut. You can see the mountain in the distance. It is visible on the horizon. You imagine if you had some sort of supernatural eyesight, you could probably see the cave from here. It's a relatively straight shot to the side of the mountain, but it is entirely in the distance. You looking over at it, there's just sort of that a sense of a minor sense of dread, just as you had as Sehanine mostly recognizes the sense of dread of when you were on that shadow plane, and it's just sort of it's just the like goosebumps on the back of your neck kind of thing. It's just one of those like that was a really intense scenario, and you remember it viscerally as a like all of you could have very easily died there with like one further misstep, getting swarmed by these like shadow creatures. But you all find your way back over to the hut that you have made. Some angular stylistic shelves have been set up over everybody's beds. Seems like anything that rolls or like books would make sense, like they'd be at an angle and like stacked up, and then the whole thing would like slide down, and it looks like an interesting choice was made. You're not sure how practical it is for most things, but they do exist.
I figured the cats would enjoy them as well as us.
Which you see one the cat familiar like jump up onto one and like feel uncomfortable and jump off immediately. All of you very exhausted, trying to get out of your funk, kind of just take the day, it sounds like, to just rest and try to get rid of this exhaustion, which is gonna have perpetual consequences on you. Taking the rest of the day, you're not able to technically take another long rest until you are entering the next day, but you all eventually are getting up relatively early, probably at the like 4 or 5 a.m. mark, finally well rested and away from your exhaustion levels, back to normal. And then how are you all splitting up the coin?
I stole it. I get to keep it.
Chaotic good marks down to chaotic neutral immediately.
We did all face the same amount of danger.
Yeah, but you didn't investigate.
I had no reason to.
Well, then you don't have any reason to have coin.
Who eventually chained her up?
I'll tell you what, you can arm wrestle the Red Knight for it, and then, we'll see what happens.
What are we doing? I'm trying to carve a duck because I gotta get my skills back in place.
You find a wooden board and you're just trying to carve a duck with some of the woodworker's tools. Give me a flat woodworker's tools check. No disadvantage.
Well, that was a natural one, so I got a splinter.
As someone who's rolled a natural one with woodworking tools before, just you got your hand placed and you're using it to like kind of chip things out, and you apply a little more pressure than you needed to, and slip at the exact right time and just jam yourself right in the hand. You're just like, Gah! You take like 1 point of damage, and then like you get some pressure on it. And you're like, that's going to leave a scar right above your knuckle that you can still see to this day. And you just hold it tight. After a few minutes, the bleeding stops, and you sort of like, it sucks. I always love when I can put in my real-world experiences into the roleplay.
So I take it back, Red Knight is not arm wrestling anybody?
I saw my other arm.
Do you remember?
Just like
I
holding
do count as a
hand like
so
this.
I could throw the Red Knight through the window.
I would say, Singhani, give me a persuasion check with disadvantage. So for our roleplay purposes, the Moonweaver has a 5 on the persuasion check that there needs to be some sort of contest for splitting up the loot that was found, which Helm and the Red Knight are in particular not motivated to play along because they've already split loot, where the 2 magic items recovered were split up between the 2 of them. Which does give the Moonweaver technically a point about the coin, because since you both got magic items. But persuasion does not dominate person.
Yeah, but she also got the cloak with Corellin.
Semantics.
Semantics. Just yells semantics at a point that doesn't make sense in the conversation. And so it's the points are made that magic items have been split up to just who they make most sense to have. And that the coin is of a similar nature of if there's not like somebody who's been screwed, like points are made that like if anybody should be getting all of the coin, it's probably Bacab, and Bacab's not there, and so I get the sense that the conclusion would be to just split the coin.
Oh yeah, she's just being a brat about
Just
it.
being a brat, yeah. So with, whatever 750 plus 691 divided by 5 is... Whoop.
If it helps, I already did the math on the 750.
Right. I think all in all, it's, 288 gold pieces and 2 silver pieces.
Per person.
Per person, yeah. 288 and 2 silver. So everybody can add that to inventories. Grabbing a pair of pouches and splitting off Bacab and Corallin's cut and tucking that away for them whenever you catch up with them. So, you all are in a situation where I have a couple checks I need you to make over the next week or so, but that would give you all basically a week of downtime to do anything in particular that your character would like to accomplish. We could start with Helm, who I believe expressed desire to find a blacksmith to work with to make a custom warhammer.
Yes.
Uh, you do find there's a specialized smith on the southeast of town. It is a duo. It is a mountain dwarf and a high elf who run a smithy together, and they kind of look at you with a sense of like we could help you out a little bit here. There's a question of if you are looking to have an enchantment of some kind worked into a hammer, or if you would like to just make a mundane hammer.
Before I forget, I
Mhm.
do need to pick up my magic gem from the enchanting lady.
Sure. Yeah, that was a
And
relatively minor.
the other, like, 30 gold I owe her.
Yep. That's a simple stop off, and yeah, pay her off the other 30 and get your. I forget the name we gave it, but it's a gem for you to be able to attune to while it's on a weapon and use that as your spell focus.
Yeah.
Very doable. Give me a smithing tools check.
Yay. Would I put that under, like, strength?
I would make that a strength tools check. So.
Oop.
Ooh. There's no disadvantage, so we take the left, and so the 23 is extremely good. They either agree to have you work with them for a week, and they will assist in the design and implementation of this particular warhammer, and you can just have they can have the warhammer and some coin, or you could pay them a little coin and with their help make it a magic warhammer.
How much coin?
They are asking for 100 gold pieces.
I'll go with the extra enchantment.
Gotcha. So for 100 gold, and you assisting them for the week, and with this, you work with them, and you guys source out what is called wenge for a staff for the shaft of the hammer. It is a black and gold grain that comes together, an extremely dense wood that's been purposefully sanded down to almost perfect smoothness and then coated in a powdered silver, which is and then as it adheres to it, gives it a little bit of grip. The one side bludgeoning, one side piercing setup has been ingrained into it and attached, and you have a +1 warhammer of your own design that can alternate between bludgeoning and piercing damage.
Yes.
So, Helm is designing and creating this masterful magic hammer, while the two of you are doing what?
I want to go shopping.
Red Knight. You haven't gotten to do much yet. So, going shopping. Yes, there is a. You all have. You're kind of probably looking for somewhere new. Give me an investigation check. You find there is a traveling halfling merchant that you managed to catch as they've just entered town and haven't had a chance to offload any of their stuff yet. it's a quite a character. It's this halfling who chooses to wear shoes, these like oversized, extra wide boots, and a looks like they wear an eye patch. But as you watch them as they're setting up, you catch them look around every once in a while and like take the eye patch off as they like kind of look at some stuff and then put the eye patch back on. So it's clearly part of a persona that they're going for. And they get this cart set up, but the thing that's very notable, there's a pair of elves that have been seemingly hired as guards who are standing nearby, pretty local but pretty well armored and armed and meant to be like a show. Oh, you've become Helm all of a sudden. Probably trying to solve his tech issues. The halfling has them help him set up. You get there as they're getting set up. This is kind of a few days into your week of like looking around trying to find some deals on magic stuff, and you see him set up a full a glistening sort of silver platinum looking full plate that is hung up on a gear rack right next to the cart, and is like he's getting ready to do his carnival barking to passerbys. It seems like he has a couple other things in display cases on the cart, but this seems to be his main thing that is has set up and on display.
Hello. I'm sorry I just caught you as soon as you set up.
No, you're early in the displays and comebouts. You know, if you got this some of these fine wares off my hands, I could trim the pay of these goobers. And he kind of gives them a wink. You kind of tell that there's a whole bit that they've worked out beforehand, and one of the guards is like, "Oh no, such abusive conditions. If only someone would take these gear off his hands and let us move on with our day."
Oh, we don't want anything like that. Tell me about your wares. What do you specialize in?
These are knickknacks and bollywogs that I've picked up from across the land. It's come in here to do some training. So if you're looking for some minor gear, you'll have a few scrolls and a potion that could save your life. And then, of course, if you're a big spender, I could definitely part with this fine set of armor that is said to be blessed by the god of luck herself.
Do I believe his spiel?
Insight check. So insight or Arcana, whichever one you feel like.
Does anyone know the god of luck he's talking about?
It's a good question.
I totally believe him.
Yeah, that seems legit. I mean, all these gods falling out of the sky, somebody had to drop some of their stuff. And it's like, yeah, sure. And you seem to remember a god of luck that had full plate, and it's a little hazy, but it makes sense. It does appear like obviously enchanted in some way. It's hard to say exactly how, but it seemed to be a magical set of full plate.
Alright, so what was the first thing he told me? Sorry.
He kind of gestures, not that excited about, but he's gestures to some scrolls that he has, and you can see in these like glass covered and locked display cases. There are two scrolls and another smaller case that has a potion kind of neatly in a little form-fitted pillow type thing, a little potion vial in there. If you've only got 70 or so gold pieces, either of these scrolls could be yours. Or, of course, this potion that, if drank, will heal your wounds magically. I notice you've got a little scrape on the hand that's been getting healed up. That could, if the scars are unsightly, could be taken away by the little application there. 70 gold for either of these scrolls, or 60 for this potion, or if you've got the 2,000 gold pieces I'm looking for, this full plate armor could be yours.
The armor is a bit rich for my taste. I don't prefer anything that flashy. What kind of scrolls are these?
Well,
Like, what spell?
with this, you could utterly dominate someone's mind and command them to do something against their will. There's also this fine piece, which I think could be useful in warfare. I've heard tales of someone shoving alchemical bombs into a jar and launching it hundreds of feet away, smashing into someone, exploding them immediately. This will fire off an object like a catapult.
That is interesting. How much for both of them? Could I get like 120?
Make a persuasion check. Geta looks at you for a second and goes, "You know, I would love to be able to focus my attention on selling this piece of armor, so I tell you what, if you want to take both of these scrolls and this potion, I could part with all three of them for 160 gold pieces."
Deal.
Very good, sir. Kind of, and pulls out a ring of like really tiny cheap keys that just like have the one thing sticking out at the right position, and pulls them out, unlocks the cases, hands you a scroll of command, a scroll of catapult, and a potion of healing.
Just a regular potion of healing?
Regular potion of healing.
Okay. Alright, neat.
Yeah. And you walk away, and as you look at this gleaming set of full plate armor, he gives you a nod, and then other passerbys coming by, and he's starting to carnival bark to them to try to get them to come over to pick up this piece of armor. You see the first people coming in for the day are mostly farmers. Give me a perception check while you're over there. Gotcha. So yeah, series of farmers coming in with their various crops coming in early in the morning, trying to set up their own stalls. Looks like the people that have the money to buy something like this probably won't be here for a couple hours. But yeah, you head off with your scrolls and potion. Sihanin, how are you spending your week?
I'm gonna track down whoever had that ring that was the like unlimited arrow, and I'm gonna buy it.
You're gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Make an I would say an investigation check. You find, I believe it was Ira had the ring. She mentions that she had sold it, and but is willing to describe who bought it. And you kind of spend your week kind of looking around at likely areas. You eventually find a elven woman who is practicing archery at like an archery range on the west side of town, and you notice her not reaching into her quiver, but just pulling back and then letting loose arrows, one after the other, apparently straight from the ring.
She really stole my ring like that. Okay.
Seems like she bought it, and it's just is practicing.
She stole my ring. I obviously laid claim to that. Okay. So Sinine's gonna like walk up to her a little huffy, and be like, "So, I don't think you were aware of this, but I would like it if you allow me to purchase the ring you are using." I'm gonna say it nicely the first time.
Yeah, give me a persuasion check.
Where are the nat 20s now?
You are the nat 20s now. She kind of looks at you funny and is like, "Well, I purchased it wanting to use it. I could be persuaded to part with it. Say 120 gold pieces.
Sorry, it used to be 200, so I'm gonna just be like, yeah, that's a deal. Let's go for it.
She kind of looks at you funny, like 200, and she kind of like, sure. And
She didn't say that.
huh?
She didn't say that to the lady. She was just really eager, like, oh wait, okay, you want to sell it for $80?
I think with a 7, you might have blurted it out.
But
She's just like, oh, go ahead and make an insight check. 20, nice. You catch her high willingness to sell it for less than you remember it costing. And give me a perception check with advantage. So you pretty plainly notice that as she reaches into her pocket first and then reaches up to like take the ring off, and as she takes the ring off, you catch a second ring that she like switches and then hands you this other ring that she had apparently palmed from her pocket.
what? So I'm gonna look at her and be like, I'd prefer the other ring, the one that's still on your hand.
She kind of like takes her hand and show like the ring is off at this point, and she's just like, no other ring on my hand. And then it's very conspicuously like see her like put something back into her pocket. It's like she thought she was being pretty sly about it, but you utterly caught what she was doing.
Are you really gonna make me? Are you really gonna make me call you on that? Like,
on what? And she goes into full like gaslight mode, and like it's just like, don't know what you're talking about. This is, you wanted a ring, 120 gold pieces. It's yours.
lady, if you think I'm above putting my hand in your back pocket to get it, I will do that.
And she's just like, if it's no sale, it's no sale. You kind of see one of the like people that like attend the archery grounds like looking over, confused about what's happening. She seems unwilling to sell you the magic ring, but was fully willing to try to trick you into buying a mundane ring.
You're making this so hard, man.
It's not me, it's roles and characters. I'm not doing anything.
So my character is gonna be like, all right, we're at an archery place. Tell you what, if I beat you at archery, I get the ring, period. And you beat me, I'll let you go, and I won't mention that you're being a shady little bitch.
She's kind of like, tell you what, you want to put 100 gold down, and I'll put the ring down, and we'll have a little competition.
Sounds good.
All right. Kind of like waves over at the attendant who walks over. Is like, what's happening? And it's like competition for a bet. And it's like, very well. 3 targets. Average. Most accuracies of the 3. Best of 3 wins the pot. And he kind of looks down. That must be a really nice ring. Just like sees 100 gold, and then you look closer, and this one has the actual engraving for the enchantment on it. So this is the actual magic ring. Hands each of you 3 arrows, and there is a short range, medium range, and long range targets. And it's like, all right, let's see. So go ahead and give me a ranged attack with your bow. So the first one's at 50 feet.
So that would just be like a regular attack roll, right?
Yeah, straight attack. Short bow or long bow, it's within the first range increment.
can do it.
Do it. Do it.
Apologies, I forgot what my modifier is.
So if you don't have it available for quickly clicking, then you can do the roll a d20 and then just add your dexterity and proficiency for the short bow. I think you use a short bow. I don't think you have a long bow proficiency.
No, I don't have a longbow yet.
So
Sorry, it's just been a long week. I've forgotten how to use the program.
no problem. So you fire off the arrow. You hit the target, kind of on the outer area of the target, and you watch her arrow go short and just go like right into the dirt, like below the target, and she kind of like, it seems like she maybe got used to these automatic arrows, and like a actual physical arrow like had a little different feel to it, and she just like screwed up the first shot. So that's a point towards you. The next target is at 100 feet, which is, I believe, your second range increment for the short bow. She is using a long bow, so you do have disadvantage, where she has a straight roll. And what I believe you have a plus, because you have +2 over proficiency, and then your dexterity modifier.
Oh, I didn't add my proficiency bonus.
Yeah, so you have a +6 on your roll for the short bow, but it is a disadvantage. You got to roll twice, take the worst. So 7 or what's your? I don't see the other.
It's a 23.
The other one was a 23.
Oh, 20. Okay, I see the other one. 23 or 13. So you got to take the 13. The 13 you have. The two arrows both hit their targets, and the judge is like looking from where you are, like, give me a moment, and he kind of walks out there, and you see him pull out and actually like take measure, because you guys your arrows landed within like a couple inches of each other in relative position on the target, and he's just like, honestly, that's too close to call for me. I would call that a tie. And she's just like, he's like, he walks back. He's like, why don't you both fire at the farthest target, and we'll see if that resolves it. If not, we'll refire on the middle. So this one's called a tie. So the second target, or the last target, is outside of both of your range increments, so it is disadvantage for both of you, trying to hit the far target. So what is your?
That's a 9.
That is a 9. So she has a 13. So you just like you clip the side of the target where she like actually hits it, and he's like, well, that ties it up. Let's go back to our middle increment. And he's like, all right. He hands you both one more arrow, and it's just like, this is our last chance here. So go ahead, and if you have any powers to activate, now would be the time. Otherwise, you are going to be taking a shot with disadvantage at that middle range target. The attendant kind of looks at both of you because you're using a short bow and she's using a long bow, and he's like, "Ma'am, may I offer you a properly fitted weapon for the range?" She kind of looks at him with a dirty look, but
a few sessions ago.
So you have the option to use the longbow, although that he's handing you. Although you are not proficient with the longbow, so it is a straight roll without proficiency or a disadvantage roll with proficiency. If you want to stick with the short bow.
I think I'm gonna stick with the proficiency bonus.
Okay. So making an attack with disadvantage. That is the 16 is your disadvantage roll. Her straight roll was a 9. So somewhat embarrassingly on the middle range, when she has a weapon made for the range, she again just clips the side of the target, and you right into the target with a very confident like, "Grr!" And she's just like, ah. She fully thought she was playing you since she saw you were using a short bow and she had a long bow. But the pot is yours, which includes your 100 gold and the ring. She has a very obvious sense of disappointment at the results, but there you are.
So like Cianine just like swipes the whole pot and like does that like the looking at you thing as she just kind of like staggers away.
Does the like. there is a sense of regret where like she could have at least gotten part of her coin, but that happens when you bet sometimes. Oh man, that came right down to the last roll of her rolling a 4.
I was like, all of my persuasion checks this whole game have all failed. This needs to happen for me.
Right. At the end of the week, you all have kind of come together for like a late dinner. We'll say after the events of this day, where you've managed to get a hold of this magic ring that produces arrows for you to fire. Requires attunement, but it does provide whenever you draw. It generates an arrow, which then the arrow then stops existing after at the start of your next turn. So they kind of fizzle out of existence after a few seconds.
That's so cool.
It is kind of rad. I like it. So the three of you are convening. We'll say having like an outdoor patio dinner at like a local cafe kind of thing. You all have a moment to discuss what you've accomplished during the week. You do conspicuously see Helm with a large, well-made, like Warhammer type thing, kind of walking up from like a relatively hard week's work at the smith, but coming out of it with something pretty nice.
Is he coming directly from the smith, or is he dirty?
That's up to Helm.
Yeah, I'm just leaving there. I'm leaving there after just finishing up helping them for the day.
Gotcha. So yeah,
Sir, this is a nice establishment. Please go take a shower.
There's
I just sent you guys a picture of the hammer.
As he sits down, there's the waiter kind of comes by, and is like, "Don't worry, sir. This is we have someone on staff for this." And the maitre d' or whoever you would call the person who like takes care of seating and all that comes by, and it's just like a little bit at a time gesturing as like grime and dirt just disappear off of Helm, and it takes a good minute of casting this spell over and over again, but Helm is cleaned while sitting and waiting for his meal to come up.
Out of curiosity, do you have a specific finger that ring goes on?
I don't have it marked on the item description, but wherever you want to have it, I think that has more to do with how you picture your archery. Middle finger is fine. Thumb works. Depends on if you follow that one
Ring
super archer guy on YouTube.
Dedicated to your short bow.
Is what?
I said ring finger if you're like that dedicated to your short bow.
Yeah.
So Cianine's gonna kind of like kick back in her chair and like put her feet up on the table just a bit and just like raise her middle finger at the group and be like, "So look what I did this week, guys. You like my new ring?"
Did you get married? That was quick. We've been on Earth for like 2 weeks.
I haven't found her yet. Okay.
Out of curiosity, would I have had time after finishing the hammer to have already turned it into the packed weapon?
Yes, you can make it your packed weapon with a short rest. Let's see.
Wait, are you a warlock now?
Maybe.
So you have had a chance to focus on this weapon, and especially with the gem serving as a focus. Give me a charisma saving throw.
Yay.
You can hear the less than well-intentioned shadow creeping out of your shield into the back of your mind. It's like, yes, that will do well. Come, we must find something with power for me to absorb. Something that can be splattered across my surface. Find it now. But you're kind of like, nope, it's dinner time. We're not murdering anyone. There are goings on. There are the feedings of babies happening.
At least not for my shield.
Right. Not what I meant. Too dark. So you can sense. You've spent some time with your shield. You've managed to find a way to sort of redirect the energy of this shadow that has like found a home within your shield. And you have the feeling that the more you can make use of its power, it's almost like you're draining it of power every time you're effectively using its abilities. And the more you have a chance to do that, the more your shield's original glory may be awakened. But it's going to be a long process of accessing these shadowy powers in order to cleanse your shield. At the end of that week, also, you do see the you see that paladin come by as you all are having dinner, and he has this like pause and kind of like head looks over in your guys' direction with like a bit of a head tilt, and you all everybody make a perception check for me. Nice. You all see him approach. The Red Knight notices that the stone eyes, it looks like they've been, like, there's a rune that has been, like, carved into the front of these stone eyes, which has just the slightest glow on it. And you can see him making, like, eye contact with you as you look over. And he kind of his head tilts.
I'm gonna throw a roll at him.
Yeah, make an attack roll.
Attacks with a roll.
Attacks. Make an attack roll.
Is strength?
Dex, I would say.
Dex?
Yeah.
It's just like a light toss,
It's
not
like-
trying to kill him with a bread roll.
More about going for accuracy. You get it at his general location, but as it sails through, and you see him just go like and like grab the roll and take a bite, and it's just like he kind of comes over and goes, I thought the faces matched the voices that I remembered.
Take a seat. I'm assuming you have some news to share with us.
He does pull up a chair. The waiter kind of in the corner looking a little like, oh, and goes to like grab another setting. And yes, that saliva turned out to be useful. I was able to work with an alchemist who, I don't have my actual eyes back, but with the help of that material, we were able to enchant them to allow me some ability to perceive. It's not exactly sight, but it helps me be aware of things around me a little easier while I get used to my situation.
They look pretty cool.
I like the look.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it will come in handy. I can sense an ability to use it to intimidate people would be interesting, but my
I'm gonna
training
use
with my
thaumaturgy to match my eyes to his.
thaumaturgy to make your eyes like his. He's like,
exactly.
I have a feeling like you did something there, but everything's in outlines and grayscale for me. It's not exactly like I have my full vision back, which is fine. I've been working with my sword master, and I think I'll do okay. I'm going to be fine. People throughout the ages have gotten by with this alternate way of going through the world just fine. I'll make myself among them.
It's very respectable.
Good. By the way, that child is picking that person's pocket, and somebody goes, "Wait, what? Hey!" And like chase this kid down an alley. It's not all bad, and it does the thing where he's just like, and the waiter comes out with like a new plate, and he's like, I'm not saying I have things to do. So, good day to all of you. Have an interesting meal. As he walks away, Red Knight, as you kind of watch him leave, your eyes go to the mountainside where you all had fought the Medusa in her lair, and thinking of like consequences of these monsters here and their effects on the mortals, especially with all of your blessings being essentially banished from the entire plane. But as you consider this, you see the shadow of something, and its wings like beat through the air. And at first you're like, oh, there's a bird a couple blocks over. And then you see the wings beat again as it gets closer, and you're like, no, it's like a building over. And then the force perspective kind of changes, and you realize it's not nearby. There's something massive, something that puts the griffin to shame on some sort of patrol that you're just catching in the moonlight, and you see it kind of like swoop down into what would be probably the farmlands outside of town. And just on the edge of your perception, you hear some sort of like a extremely distant thunder, and then a moment's pass, and then another again, as you almost look for the lightning as you hear this rumble, but the rumble isn't echoing the way you would expect thunder from lightning to do, and there is no lightning in the sky whatsoever. There is just this sudden thunder that happens.
I'm slurping up my, let's say, ramen noodles.
Yeah.
That I just started to eat. It's like, interesting. But I don't say anything to the group.
Gotcha. You all have your various dinners and meals. Start to return, walking back to your home that you've settled up in over here, and there's as you all rest, Sihanin, make this would be a wisdom check. A D20 and your wisdom modifier.
Cool. My wisdom modifier is 1, so that's a 15.
15, very good. You all have always been in the habit of taking watches, and people kind of just watching the door. You've made upgrades so that little rat familiars can't sneak in here and steal stuff from you anymore. But when it's your turn to go into your meditation, and you've had this sort of happen before, where when you go into a meditation, you get visions of your and other people's pasts. But here you get a meditation that you sense yourself connect with Coraline, and the two of you had always taken watches opposite each other, so neither of you were meditating at the same time. But you get this sense that the two of you are both meditating at the same time, and you can feel each other's presence in the back of your head, and you can communicate with each other while you are getting your rest through this meditation. They are in their meditation working through the events of the day, where they've spoken with religious leaders, making connections as though they are simply like peaceful liaisons from the other country. But then they sense your presence in that moment, and they're just like, "Oh, hello.
Hey there, you.
How is what? Is this part of the cloaks doing their thing?"
I'm assuming, because that's the only explanation I can come up with at the moment.
Well, this could be very useful.
So what have you been doing?
A lot of research. They do, in fact, have a vault of magical artifacts of various gods that have been collected over the centuries. Getting access is something we're working on. They have mostly lost of their abilities to do magic, so showing up with some ability to do magic has gotten us in a couple of doors. There was an old man screaming on the side of the road today, something about the irony of his favorite dinner destroying the world. That was interesting. He seemed very convinced about it.
Oh, I kind of wish I had heard that.
Yes.
But yeah, so I beat you to getting the ring. Very proud about it. I won a little competition, and it was easy as pie. Don't know why they tried to outshoot a god, but mortals.
Oh.
And yeah, we finished. We got a hold of that paladin. Yeah, he's got cool stone eyes now.
Ah. That's pretty neat. Well, if you see a very large duck destroying the countryside, let me know so I can let that screaming man know that he was correct.
I will do that.
Huh?
I'll also be sure to kill it. It sounds like that'd make a really interesting dinner.
That's fair. So you two have a pleasant exchange and update each other on the goings-on of the two groups, sort of unlocking this ability. As the two of you kind of reach a lull in the conversation, you both see something to, like, your right, and it's just the shining outline of a window with some bright light on the other side of it. As you and Corlon both look out that window, you can see a hillside with just bright moonlight shining straight down, and apparently a wedding that's taking place. A very large, maybe 7 foot tall elf woman who seems built to be able to seems like if she wanted to, she could just grab the mast off a ship and use that as a weapon. But is gently kissing a smaller, more shadowy elven woman as they exchange rings, and they pair up their swords, and they place them down into a stone, and then the stone is then covered with another stone that it seems like one of their followers has hollowed out, and they've kind of placed it and then smoothed it and sealed it so that the blades are now encased in this rock at the top of this hill. The rock then manipulated to look like the main moon of the world, and with a smaller moon given to the pair of them to then go take somewhere. And there seems to be almost a magical thread connecting the two stones, and they both sort of nod and then apparently just leave to go about their lives with their days where their blades are needed are done, and they can go live in peace. And they both leave with this stone item. You and Coraline kind of look at each other just with one of those well, that might be useful. And then you kind of come up out of your trance. As you do, make a perception check for me.
Okay.
You do still hear some sort of footsteps weirdly shuffly and loud, and you just sort of like, that's weird. Your turn for your watch seems to be, you guys are hitting morning, so it's like early morning where it's still pretty dark out. But it's about time to get everybody up and have people put on armor and get ready for the day. So you all come to consciousness, grab some quick breakfast and get your armor on and all that. And get a perception check from the other two of you.
I'm currently going over the cat familiar and just telling him about like these spell scrolls I got. So Macabre would know. I was like, oh yeah, if you wanted them to look at them,
Right.
I have them, all that stuff. So I'm not paying attention to anything else.
Right. Yeah, you all are just kind of sitting there, doing whatever you're doing, geared up and all that. You do hear this. It's an almost impossible noise to describe. It is like a clap of thunder from a lightning bolt that landed maybe 50 feet away. So just a deafening explosion of a noise, and then shattering wood and stone clattering on the ground, and somebody's just like, "This doesn't make any sense!" and then just and running and some screams and stuff. The three of you peek outside and see what is a giant goose, for lack of a better term. And when I say giant goose, as in twice the size as the biggest warhorse you've ever seen. This massive goose kind of picks its head up out of the debris and lets out a honk like you would expect from a goose, but just and then a massive thunderous attack that blows up another hut. And you all have just a what kind of moment. It's just, how do the three of you respond to the giant goose blowing up buildings?
So, you guys seeing this too?
I'm seeing, but I'm not believing.
This is what happens when you try to carve something and it doesn't go well. It manifests itself into the world.
Tried to make a duck. Tried to make a duck and a magic weapon, and it made a giant goose dragon. That's entirely possible. Let's break for 5 minutes, come back, and see what you're going to do about this giant goose. We'll see y'all in about 5. Honk.
It's so big.
It is a goose.
It's kind of adorable, though.
It's gonna be fun. Well, we'll see. We'll see how you guys do.
We're gonna survive the Medusa, but this goose is gonna be what takes us out.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's gonna be the goose. Not everybody's back yet. That's okay. I accidentally didn't hit studio mode when I was getting set up. So whatever, it's fine. All right. Well,
I'm here. Don't worry.
gotcha. Let's have you all roll initiative, as this goose is pretty close to all of your dwelling. All right. Okay. So that's 6 and 7 with a all right. Helm. It is the very early morning. There's just barely some light that has come up over the horizon, as this massive goose has just honked apart the next dwelling over. So you are first to act. What would you like to do?
How long have we been up?
Approximately 20 minutes. So you all were eating and got your armor on, and then the deafening honk destroyed the next building over.
Okay. I've got no idea at the moment, so I'm probably gonna try and move a little. I'm gonna get ready to defend myself at the very least, in case it comes closer.
Gotcha. So stand on the hidden side of your dwelling, trying to gauge what it's gonna do next.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it did really badly. It doesn't seem aware of anyone else's presence. It is digging around inside this neighboring hut. You see it pull up out of there what seems like a full head of cabbage, and it's just chews it down, and then is looking around, aggressively pecks at something inside of that hut, but then just flaps its wings and doesn't really do anything yet. And then, Sihanin, what are you doing? It does not appear to be aware of you all yet.
Sihanin is going to try she's just going to try and do her basic little peek around the corner, hit it with an arrow. So we'll see how that goes.
So popping out to take a shot. Go ahead and take your attack with advantage, as it is not aware of you. The 20, you do have a +6 on this, but with your proficiency. If it's
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm short circuit.
No worries. We've all had a couple of weeks, or months, or years. But yeah,
So
but
that's 22.
the 22 definitely hits. So go ahead and roll damage along with sneak attack. Due to advantage on the roll. Well, I think your sneak attack is 2d6.
Do I have an attack modifier? Is that a thing? Not like a...
You add your dexterity modifier to damage, yeah. And then you have your... it'd be 3d6 total. 1 for your bow and 2 for your sneak attack. So, yeah, 3d6 plus 4. 16 damage. Off the bat, a pretty solid hit, and then you're trying to hide after launching the arrow, essentially.
Of course, that's my move. That's my MO.
Make a stealth check. See if you can make it not perceivable where that arrow came in from. That's very good. All right, you're pretty confident you managed to find a little lean out, fire off, and lean back in well enough to just have it not aware of where the arrow came from. You all hear this and this giant goose is very perturbed and wounded, but unaware of where that came from. Red Knight, what are you up to?
I'm gonna run up to it.
Gotcha. Whoop. Your movement gets you to there. You can try to dash or take other actions.
How far is? I can't really see the.
Oh yeah,
goose.
it's a 5-foot grid, and it's just under 60 feet away. As you kind of come out around the corner, since it's on the other side of the next building.
I'm gonna use my action to dash.
Gotcha. Just trying to get up to it.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Get right up next to it.
And then I'm gonna action surge.
Go for it.
And before I do that, I'm gonna use my bonus action to feint.
Cool.
So I can get advantage on this.
That's one of your battle master maneuvers, right?
Yes.
Go for it.
So, the full 8 extra damage.
Nice.
And then that's with advantage with my new fancy great axe.
Oh yeah.
I just got.
Get your +1 magic great axe. All right. So that is
in total 17 damage.
17 damage. Both of you coming in with these pretty hard-hitting strikes on this, an impressive amount of destruction happening to this thing immediately.
We're making dinner tonight.
Yeah, it definitely felt that as its head curves down at you with this weird hardened beak. Each feather, as you get up close to it, you can see the shadows pouring off of each feather. They just sort of it's almost like if something was soaked in ink and then was going through water, how you should see the trail of pigment, except it's the shadow in the air. What are you doing? Comes around to Helm. The goose has not attacked you, but everybody else seems to be rushing the goose.
I'm going to start making my way towards the goose.
Gotcha. Your movement can get you to there. You can try to dash. You could also, if you wanted, you could try to climb, go through the shattered building.
What I actually want to do is, thanks to my new abilities, actually, because of that shield, about 15 feet away from the Red Knight, like to the, like on the other side of the goose.
Sure.
I want to use grease.
Oh, okay. Casting
So
grease.
it slips, but he doesn't.
Gotcha. So you're trying to grease in the area around the goose, but not catching the Red Knight in it. Gotcha.
So it's got difficult terrain, but he does.
Gotcha. Anything else to that? Like, is there another save oriented in there? Or I haven't cast grease in a long time.
Each creature standing in its area must succeed a dex saving throw or fall prone.
That is hilarious. You watch as this massive goose just slips and falls over and is getting coated in grease. Getting ready to be cooked, apparently. So you got this greased up shadow goose now prone on the ground.
In a time.
That's way funnier than I was expecting this to go. Greasy goose.
Need some Dawn dish soap to clean up that goose.
Not yet.
It got so dark all of a sudden. The goose has to burn half of its movement to get up. It does just roll. It rolls around a bit and finally gives like a flap of its wings and lands. It's just doing that like thing where its feet are trying to find purchase, but they keep like skidding on the ground. It's just like eventually it just kind of has to like woof 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 and just flies. Does it have a movement for that? It has just enough movement to do the fly up and over and like just land on the backside of the Red Knight. Let's see if it has its honk back. It has its honk back. The goose looks down at the Red Knight, and you see it breathe in and just, and again a honk that would be easily mistaken for a thunderclap right into the Red Knight's face. The Red Knight should have written down the saving throw. Where did you go? Come on, spelling. Red Knight needs to make a Constitution saving throw. An 18, nice. So you will be taking half damage, and you are not deafened, as this honk blows away another good half of that building, taking out a wall and a lot of furniture being blown out the other side of it. That is... If I have enough dice to make this easy to do, I'll go ahead and do that. That is 3, 10, 15, 20, 35, 41, 40, 42 thunder damage, halved to 21 thunder damage since you made your save. So 21 thunder damage to the Red Knight, and managed to kind of like get your shoulders up to your ears, and she does not go deaf from the shockwave of noise that just came down. And then Sihanin.
We're just gonna go for another arrow.
You'd be like, you hear this goof of a honk that comes down on the Red Knight, and you're like, that must have sucked. Lean out and take another shot. It never made its perception check to see where you are, so you do still have advantage. So yeah, d20 plus 6, I think? Yeah. Oh, you accidentally rolled 2d20 plus 6. Well, that kind of gives you your two rolls. So it would have been the 17 plus 6 would have been 23. We'll work out the tech on that later. But yeah, 23 hits. Go ahead and roll your total of 3d6 plus 4. You manifest this arrow from your magic ring and let it loose at the goose. 18 damage. Nice. I did not mean to get all rhymey on that last sentence, but it just kind of happened. Another arrow just right into the fluff of the body of the goose. It's just a lot much more pitiful honk than the last thing that shattered a building. And then Red Knight, you'd be up.
How bad is the goose looking?
It's wounded. Definitely wounded. You wouldn't call it bloodied, but you would call it wounded.
Alright, I'm going to use my bonus action to charge up Searing Smite.
Nice.
On my weapon. So that's if it hits, it's going to be 2d6 fire. I'm going to go ahead roll to hit first.
Do it. 23 to hit with the 7 slashing damage. Yeah, and then go ahead and roll your Searing Smite. And I'm going to say add
fire now.
And roll a d6 extra fire damage, since it is a greased up duck.
That's what I was thinking.
It was effective. So an extra 2. So it is a 19 total damage.
And it has to make a save. 13 con save.
Nice. Or is it caught on fire? Wow, it is rolling.
Yes.
It is rolling crap for saves. Wait, a 13?
Yes.
It just fails. It got a 12. So it is on fire.
And then every turn it takes another d6 fire damage.
Nice. Until it takes an action to put it out or something?
I don't think it can. I've got to check Searing Smite again.
Gotcha. Yeah, you go read Searing Smite. Helm, you would be up. There is a goose engulfed in flames. One of those things you never think is going to come up in a D&D session, but hey, here we are.
Giant flaming goose.
Flaming
okay.
Goose.
Let's make this interesting.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to, hopefully, I want to move up to the goose.
Gotcha.
If I've got enough movement.
Yep, just enough.
Yes. So, let's make this fun. What I'm going to do is, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to swing.
Gotcha.
I'm going to take a big old swing at it with the front of the hammer.
Nice. Yep, it is a +1 weapon, so you have your +1 attacking damage. Of 20.
Would it be with advantage since I'm...
No, you guys are not... Helm does not have the movement to get into flanking.
Okay.
But a 23 is still a hit.
Yay.
So 6 bludgeoning damage.
Well, that's pathetic. Oh well, that works.
Still a functional hit. And you have your shield, a small amount of like flaming grease and goose feather and goose blood smatters on the shield, and you can hear the shield. It's like, more. I need more. Give me its voice box. Give me more of its power. And this creepy shadowy shield is just like, yeah, give me the power. Anything else on your turn?
You know what, let's piss off the goose a little. I'm going to use Compelled Duel.
Oh, nice.
And it's a Wisdom save.
Wisdom save. That is a 19 wisdom save.
It saved. Heavily.
This you can see in the eyes of this goose a small amount of goosey panic has entered its very small brain. Wounded and on fire, it decides to just disengage and fly straight up off the field.
Do we get an attack of opportunity on it?
It does disengage first. If you have Sentinel, then yes.
Oh, it does take 1d6 fire damage if it fails its Constitution's throw.
Gotcha. Oop. So it gets another save to try to avoid extra damage. My flight thing is not working quite perfectly. There we go. That is a natural 20. So
And the fires go out.
Gotcha. So it is this. Obviously, it's having trouble staying in the air, but it does take flight. It's there's something funny happens where once it gets off the ground, you see its shadow in the morning light trail up to it and almost engulf it, with shadow coming off of all of its feathers and out of its eyes and beak, as it starts to turn and fly for the mountain where you all had the encounter with the Medusa in her temple. It has a fly speed of 80, so it immediately takes off and starts climbing, and it gets about 80 feet north of you all. So I believe some of you have abilities to attack a little bit. Whether or not you can try to take it down before it gets completely out of range is a good question. So going to Sihanin, do you have means of trying to shoot this goose out of the air?
I don't think intelligence-wise I can try hideous laughter on it. But if I can move up, I can try to shoot it with my arrow again.
With your movement, you can get within your first increment for one attack. So, and it wasn't aware of you. Still, it hadn't made its perception check yet, so you still have advantage on that. That's 18, and you have advantage, so you can do another roll of the same thing. Natural 20 is a hit and a crit, so you're going to be doubling your dice. So 3d6 doubled plus 4. So
that's 66, right?
So you could just roll 66 if you wanted, or you can roll 3d6 and just double the number, but either way, up to you. 66 is 26, plus 4 is another 30 damage. Wow.
No, I think the 4 is already added in.
I think it is as well.
Oh, the 4 was already in? Oh, so 22 plus 4. Okay, gotcha. So 26. Got it. You do see this arrow, like, fly on and, like, find right the back of its neck. And the neck isn't super wide, so you imagine you hit something pretty vital. But it is staying... It lunges downward a little bit, but catches itself and continues flying northward. It is not taken down yet, though it looks pretty heavily wounded at this point. And then the Red Knight.
Is that giant grease pile in front of me?
It is in front of you, yes.
How wide was it?
10 feet, but it only affects you if you end your turn there.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna... Well, is it still difficult terrain if I try to go through it?
I believe so.
Sure. There's no reason to go through it unless you have a specific reason you want to go through it, though.
No, I was just wondering. Yeah, I don't have anything that's gonna catch up to the goose. I'm just gonna just sit back and watch.
Kind of twirl the axe and then just be like, well, that was weird. Helm, do you have anything to try to affect the goose?
I have javelins.
Kind of run after it, try to chuck a javelin at it?
Well, it's only gone 80 feet, and my max range is 120 with a javelin.
Yeah, go for it.
Come on!
So your short range is 30, so you would be at disadvantage.
Oh, so just try again?
Yeah, it'd be a disadvantage on that. So it's a 9, yeah. Woo! And it just doesn't even really reach it where it's at altitude-wise. And then it moves and dashes another 160 feet, getting pretty far. Sihanin could take one more shot with disadvantage.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, we're here.
Sure. I was gonna say, you don't actually use up arrows at your attempts, so...
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's been my favorite thing, is imagining it getting super confused because the arrow disappears after a second. Where did it come from? Where did it go?
Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Someone recovered the arrows from this murder, but there's no exit wounds.
So it's disadvantage, right?
You're right. So you just roll a d20 twice, take the lower one. You can even just hit 2d20 if you wanted. Either way. So 8. So no, it goes wide. You can even see from here, you fire the arrow, trying to get maximum range to catch it as it's going out, and you see the arrow just like miss and then dissolve into dust in the air. This thing is full on double move, getting out of the area, getting out of dodge. So that is a gone goose.
Gone Goose, coming to theaters near you.
Gone Goose.
How bad does it smell in the area right now?
It smells like burnt shadow goose. I'm not sure exactly how to describe that in any way besides burnt shadow goose. So this thunderous goose has now taken off. You all injured it enough; it didn't really. Well, actually, I wonder if it would have gotten its honk back. What would have if it stuck around for another turn? It would have gotten its honk back for another like 40-something thunder damage honk, which depending on saves can be quite deadly. But it is trailing off as the sun rises, and you can see the almost trailing cloud of shadow, some of which is smoke from its being burnt. But it trails off into the distance, where this, for lack of a better term, goose dragon showed up and started wreaking havoc on the area. Shortly after that, you all are, during the day, you can see there are farmers coming in from the countryside, and apparently this thing wrecked several farmhouses and barns and things in the area. There are reports of farmers getting jumped by shadow creatures that are closer to the mountain range, and guards are trying to just bring everyone into the city for a little safer keeping, and watches are being established. But how you all want to proceed, either heading for your artifacts to the west, or trying to deal, which would make dealing with a thunder goose dragon a little easier. But how you decide to proceed, we will hopefully be covering next week and deciding what to do about the goose dragon.
As a final thing, I do want to use my lay on hands to heal the Red Knight.
Right. Plunge.
Yeah, I took a bit of...
21's a lot, even for the fighter. I was just
Still standing.
still standing. I was hoping that 42 wouldn't have been a one-shot, but
Oh no, it would have. Like,
well, I
I
mean,
had 38.
not a one-shot and then over it to cause instant death,
right,
but
exactly.
but definitely a dropping amount of damage. Yeah. Beware the honk. That's true. Well, good on you guys. You had some downtime. You fought a shadow goose dragon thing. There was some weird stuff on that plane of existence that is now leaking into this one. But good on you. Hope everybody has a good week, and I hope we see everybody. Anybody who's watching and wondering, we had some people have some personal events happen, and some people feeling under the weather, so they had to miss session. But we thought we'd have a small crew after the many weeks of whatever the plural is for apocalypse happening. Apocalypses. I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But till next time.
Of unfortunate events.
Yeah, a series of unfortunate events the year. But until next time, we'll see you all around. Gods be with you, and take care of yourselves. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
But